Hey Capricorn, so I just sat down with my tarot deck because I've been feeling this really strong pull to explore what's happening with your manifestation energy right now. You know how the law of attraction works, right? And what you put out into the universe comes back to you. But here's the thing that most people don't talk about enough. You're not just attracting based on what you consciously want or what you write in your manifestation journal. You're attracting based on your deeper energy, your subconscious beliefs, your wounds, your fears, and sometimes that's where things get a little complicated. So I wanted to pull some cards for you today to see what's really going on beneath the surface, what energy you're actually putting out there, and what that means for what's coming into your life. I have to say, what came through was pretty eye-opening, and there are some things here that I think you really need to hear. So let's just dive right in and see what the universe wants you to know about your attraction energy right now. The first card that came out for you is the Hermit. And I find this really interesting as a starting point because the Hermit is all about solitude, introspection, and inner wisdom. What this is telling me is that right now, whether you realize it or not, you're in a phase where you're attracting situations that push you toward being alone with yourself. Now, for some of you watching this, that might sound negative, like, oh no, am I manifesting isolation or loneliness? But that's not quite what's happening here. What the Hermit is showing me is that your energy right now is very much turned inward. You've been doing a lot of internal work, maybe not even consciously, but you're in a period of deep self-reflection and soul-searching. The law of attraction responds to this by bringing you circumstances that support this inward journey. So you might notice that you're not as interested in social gatherings as you used to be, or maybe invitations are coming less frequently, or perhaps you're finding more comfort in your own company than in being around others. This isn't a bad thing at all. In fact, the Hermit is one of those cards that represents spiritual maturity and the quest for deeper truth. What you're attracting right now are opportunities to really get to know yourself on a profound level. The universe is creating space for you to find your own inner light, your own wisdom, without the noise and influence of others. But here's where it gets interesting from a law of attraction perspective. When you're in Hermit energy, you're also attracting answers and insights that can only come through silence and solitude. You might find that solutions to problems suddenly occur to you when you're alone, or that you have these profound realizations in quiet moments. The danger here, and this is something I want you to be aware of, is that if you resist this energy, if you fight against this need for solitude because you think you should be more social or more connected, you might end up attracting more forced isolation in ways that feel less pleasant. Like, the universe might make you sick so you have to stay home, or create circumstances that literally prevent you from being as social as you're trying to force yourself to be. So the message here is to honor this Hermit phase. Lean into it. Use this time to really connect with who you are at your core, because the clarity and wisdom you gain now is going to inform what you manifest next. You're building a really solid foundation of self-knowledge right now, and that's incredibly powerful for your future manifestations. The next card that came through is Death. And okay, I know this card freaks a lot of people out, but please don't panic, because death in tarot is rarely about actual physical death. What death represents is transformation, endings, and rebirth. So from a law of attraction standpoint, what this is telling me is that you are currently in the process of attracting major transformations into your life. There's something ending, something dying away, and this is happening because your energy has shifted in a fundamental way. Here's the thing about death energy and manifestation. When you're going through a death cycle, you're literally shedding old versions of yourself, old beliefs, old patterns, old ways of being. And as you shed these things, you stop attracting what matched that old energy, and you start attracting things that match your new, emerging self. For some of you, this might look like relationships falling away, jobs ending, living situations changing, or just a general sense that your old life doesn't fit anymore. And I know that can feel scary or sad or uncomfortable, but what you need to understand is that you're attracting these endings because you've outgrown what was. Your soul is ready for something new, something that better aligns with who you're becoming. The law of attraction is essentially clearing out space in your life for new manifestations that match your evolved frequency. Now, the dangerous part of this, and this is what you need to be aware of, is that transformation can feel like loss. And if you get stuck in grief or resistance about what's ending, you might start attracting more loss-based experiences because that's where your energy is focused. Death asks for surrender. It asks you to trust the process of transformation, even when you can't see what's coming next. What you're attracting right now is the death of your old self and the birth of your new self. And this is a powerful, sacred process. The universe is supporting your evolution, but you have to be willing to let go of what no longer serves you. You have to release your grip on the past and trust that what's coming is better aligned with your highest good. If you can do that, if you can flow with this death energy rather than resist it, you're going to emerge from this period as a completely transformed person, and you'll be attracting from a totally new level of consciousness. Moving to the third card, I pulled the World, and this is honestly such a beautiful progression from death, because the World represents completion, fulfillment, and the end of a major cycle. What this tells me is that after all this inner work with the Hermit, and all this transformation with death, you're actually moving toward a period of manifestation completion. The World is the final card of the major arcana, and it signifies that you're wrapping up a significant chapter of your life journey. From a law of attraction perspective, the World indicates that you're about to attract the culmination of everything you've been working toward, perhaps for years. All those seeds you planted, all those intentions you set, all that energy you put out there, it's all coming together now. You're attracting success, achievement, and a sense of wholeness. For some of you, this might manifest as finally reaching a goal you've been chasing, or experiencing a moment of recognition or celebration, or just feeling this deep sense of satisfaction and completion about where you are in life. But here's what's really important about the World from a manifestation standpoint. It's not just about arriving at a destination, it's about integration. The World asks you to integrate all the lessons you've learned, all the experiences you've had, and all the parts of yourself into one cohesive whole. When you do this, when you truly embody the World energy, you become magnetic in a really powerful way because you're operating from a place of completeness rather than lack. You're no longer attracting from a place of, I need this to feel whole. You're attracting from a place of, I am already whole and I'm ready for the next level. This is huge for manifestation because the most powerful manifestors are the ones who don't need what they're manifesting. They simply desire it from a place of already being fulfilled. The World is showing me that you're stepping into this level of mastery. You're attracting experiences that reflect your own inner sense of completion and accomplishment. Now, the shadow side here is that the World can sometimes indicate a fear of what comes next. When you complete something major, there can be this weird, empty feeling or anxiety about starting a new cycle. If you let that fear dominate, you might start attracting stagnation or situations that keep you stuck in the completion phase without moving forward. So the key is to celebrate this completion, honor how far you've come, and then be willing to start fresh with a new journey when the time comes. The fourth card here is the Queen of Swords. And this is where things get really interesting because the Queen of Swords is all about clarity, truth, and mental sharpness. What this card is telling me about your law of attraction energy is that you're currently attracting situations that require you to use your intellect and discernment. The Queen of Swords doesn't do fuzzy thinking or emotional manipulation. She cuts through the nonsense and sees things as they really are. So right now, you're magnetizing people and circumstances that demand clear communication and honest assessment. For some of you, this might mean attracting people who are very direct and straightforward, maybe even blunt. Or you might find yourself in situations where you need to make tough decisions based on logic rather than emotion. The Queen of Swords is also someone who has been through pain and has used that pain to develop wisdom and strength. She's not naive or overly optimistic. She's realistic and practical. What you're attracting right now reflects this energy. You're drawing in experiences that help you develop your own inner Queen of Swords, your own ability to see clearly and speak your truth without apology. From a manifestation perspective, This is powerful because when you're operating from Queen of Swords energy, you're not fooling yourself about what you really want or what's really happening. You're honest with yourself and others, and that honesty creates a clean, clear channel for manifestation. You're not attracting based on fantasy or delusion, you're attracting based on truth. However, there's a potential danger here. The Queen of Swords can sometimes be too detached or too cold. If you're attracting this energy in its shadow form, you might notice that your relationships feel a bit icy, or that people perceive you as harsh or unapproachable. You might also find yourself attracting conflicts or arguments, because the Queen of Swords energy, when unbalanced, can be cutting and critical. The key is to use this sword energy wisely. Use it to cut away what's false and unhealthy, but don't use it to cut people down or to cut yourself off from your own emotions. You're attracting opportunities to speak your truth and stand in your power, and that's beautiful, but make sure you're doing it with integrity and not just as a defense mechanism. Now we have the King of Pentacles, and this card is all about material success, stability, and mastery in the physical world. What this is showing me about your attraction energy is that you're currently pulling in opportunities for financial growth and material abundance. The King of Pentacles is someone who has built something substantial, someone who understands how to work with the material realm and create lasting prosperity. You're attracting situations right now that allow you to demonstrate your own mastery and competence. This might show up as job opportunities, business prospects, chances to increase your income, or situations where you can showcase your skills and expertise. The King of Pentacles is also about security and stability, so you're magnetizing circumstances that help you build a more solid foundation in your life. For some of you, this might mean attracting a more stable living situation, or finding ways to create more financial security, or connecting with people who can help you grow your resources. From a law of attraction standpoint, the King of Pentacles represents the manifestation of long-term efforts. This isn't about quick wins or overnight success. This is about the steady accumulation of wealth and resources through consistent, practical action. What you're attracting is the result of seeds you planted in the past, and those seeds are now maturing into something substantial and valuable. The King of Pentacles also indicates that you're attracting mentors or father figures who can teach you about building wealth and creating security. Or you might be attracting opportunities to step into that role yourself, to be the one who provides stability and wisdom to others. Now here's where you need to be careful. The King of Pentacles in shadow can be all about materialism and greed. If you're attracting from a place of never enough, or if you're overly focused on money and status at the expense of everything else, you might find that what comes to you feels empty or unfulfilling despite being materially successful. You might also attract people who only value you for what you can provide financially or materially. The key is to remember that true abundance includes but isn't limited to material wealth. Use this King of Pentacles energy to build security and prosperity, but don't let it become the only thing that defines your worth or your life. The sixth card that appeared is the Ten of Swords, and I have to be honest, this is a heavy card, and it indicates something pretty important about what you might be attracting right now. The Ten of Swords represents betrayal, painful endings, and hitting rock bottom. Now, before you panic, let me explain what this means from a law of attraction perspective. What the Ten of Swords is showing me is that you might be attracting situations where you feel defeated or backstabbed, but here's the crucial thing. These experiences are often the result of refusing to acknowledge what was already over. The Ten of Swords comes when you've been holding on to something way past its expiration date, and the universe finally forces the ending in a way that feels brutal or sudden. So if you're attracting Ten of Swords energy, it's likely because there's something in your life that you've been avoiding dealing with, some truth you haven't wanted to face, some situation you've been trying to keep alive, even though it's already dead. The law of attraction is bringing you the final nail in the coffin, so to speak, so that you can actually move on. For some of you, this might manifest as a relationship that ends in a hurtful way, or a job situation that collapses, or a friendship where you discover you were betrayed. And yes, these experiences are painful. There's no way around that. But the Ten of Swords also represents the end of suffering. It's the darkest point, which means the only way from here is up. What you're attracting is the completion of a painful cycle so that you can finally be free from it. Now here's the dangerous part. If you're stuck in victim mentality, if you're constantly expecting to be hurt or betrayed, you're going to keep attracting Ten of Swords experiences because that's the energy you're putting out. The Ten of Swords asks you to examine where you might be playing the martyr or where you're allowing yourself to be treated poorly because of some unconscious belief that you deserve it. You're attracting these painful endings as wake-up calls, as opportunities to finally stand up and say, enough is enough. The gift of the Ten of Swords is that once you hit bottom, you can push off and rise. You're being shown the worst so that you can choose something better. So if this energy is showing up for you, the question to ask yourself is, what am I holding on to that needs to end? And how can I release it with grace rather than waiting for it to blow up in my face? Card 7 is the Page of Swords, and this brings a completely different energy into your attraction field. The Page of Swords is all about curiosity, new ideas, and mental exploration. What this card is telling me is that you're currently attracting situations that stimulate your mind and encourage you to think in new ways. The Page of Swords is like a detective or a student, always asking questions, always seeking information, always ready to learn. You're magnetizing people and experiences that challenge your existing beliefs and push you to expand your thinking. This might show up as interesting conversations, new learning opportunities, books or information that finds its way to you, or people who introduce you to concepts you've never considered before. From a law of attraction standpoint, the Page of Swords indicates that you're in a phase of gathering information before taking action. You're attracting all these mental stimuli because you're preparing for something, even if you don't know what that something is yet. The Page of Swords is also about communication and using your voice in new ways. You might be attracting opportunities to write, speak, teach, or share your ideas with others. Or you might be attracting people who communicate in ways that are refreshing or different from what you're used to. Now, here's what you need to watch out for. The Page of Swords can sometimes be all talk and no action. If you're attracting this energy in its shadow form, you might find yourself stuck in analysis paralysis, endlessly researching and planning but never actually doing anything. You might also attract gossip, arguments, or people who are sharp-tongued and hurtful with their words. The Page of Swords energy needs to be channeled constructively. Use that mental energy to gather the information you need, to communicate clearly and honestly, and to stay curious about life. But don't let it turn into scattered thinking, rumor spreading, or verbal attacks. You're attracting mental stimulation right now, and that's great for keeping your mind sharp and your perspectives fresh. Just make sure you're using it wisely, and eventually turning those ideas into concrete action. The 8th card is the Fool, and this is such a powerful card for manifestation because the Fool represents new beginnings, infinite potential, and taking leaps of faith. What this tells me about your attraction energy is that you're pulling in brand new opportunities that require you to step into the unknown. The Fool is at the beginning of a journey with no idea where it will lead, but trusting that the universe will guide the way. You're attracting situations right now that ask you to be brave, to take risks, to try things you've never tried before. For some of you, this might manifest as a sudden opportunity that seems exciting but also scary because it's so different from anything you've done before. Or you might find yourself feeling called toward a completely new path or direction in life. The Fool energy is all about possibility and potential. You're attracting the chance to reinvent yourself, to start fresh, to approach life with childlike wonder and enthusiasm. From a law of attraction perspective, the Fool is incredibly powerful because it represents pure, unlimited creative potential. When you're in Fool energy, you haven't yet been limited by experience or failure or fear. You're open to absolutely anything. This openness creates a really magnetic field that can attract amazing opportunities and synchronicities. The universe loves the Fool energy because it's willing to play, to experiment, to trust. What you're attracting is the invitation to step off the cliff and trust that you'll either fly or land somewhere even better than where you started. Now, the shadow side of the Fool is naivety and recklessness. If you're attracting Fool energy in its unbalanced form, you might be taking foolish risks without proper consideration, or you might be attracting people who take advantage of your innocence or inexperience. You might also find yourself in situations where your lack of planning or foresight creates problems. The key with the Fool is to maintain that sense of openness and trust, while also using the wisdom you've gained from previous cards like the Queen of Swords and the King of Pentacles. Be willing to take the leap, but also be smart about it. You're attracting new beginnings and fresh starts, and that's beautiful and exciting. Just make sure you're stepping into the unknown with awareness and not just blind optimism. Card 9 is the Five of Cups, and this brings up some really important points about what you might be unconsciously attracting based on your emotional state. The Five of Cups is about grief, loss, and focusing on what's gone rather than what remains. What this card is showing me is that if you're not careful, you might be attracting more experiences of disappointment and loss because that's where your attention is focused. The Five of Cups depicts someone looking at spilled cups, completely unaware that there are still cups standing behind them. This is about perspective and where you choose to direct your energy. From a law of attraction standpoint, the Five of Cups is a warning that you might be manifesting from a place of lack or sadness. If you're constantly dwelling on what you've lost, what didn't work out, or what went wrong, you're going to keep attracting more situations that reinforce that sense of loss and disappointment. The universe responds to your dominant emotional frequency, and if that frequency is grief or regret, that's what you'll get more of. For some of you watching this, the Five of Cups might be indicating that you're attracting people or situations that trigger your old wounds or remind you of past hurts. This isn't necessarily a bad thing if you use it as an opportunity to heal, but it becomes problematic if you just keep replaying the same painful patterns without learning from them. The Five of Cups is asking you to turn around and see what's still there, what's still good, what you still have to work with. When you shift your focus from what you've lost to what remains, you completely change your attraction point. Suddenly, you're attracting from gratitude rather than grief, from abundance rather than lack. This doesn't mean you shouldn't acknowledge your pain or grieve what you've lost. That's healthy and necessary. But it means not getting stuck in that grief to the point where it becomes your identity and your primary manifestation frequency. The gift of the Five of Cups is emotional maturity and the ability to process loss while still moving forward. You're being asked to feel your feelings, honor your losses, and then consciously choose to redirect your attention to the possibilities that still exist. What you focus on expands, so make sure you're expanding the right things. The final card that came through for you is the Five of Swords, and this is a really important card to end on because it highlights something crucial about conflict and how you might be attracting it into your life. The Five of Swords is about winning at all costs, conflict, and hollow victories. What this card is telling me about your law of attraction energy is that you might be attracting confrontational situations or competitive dynamics where someone has to win and someone has to lose. The Five of Swords often appears when there's a pattern of creating or engaging in unnecessary battles. From a manifestation perspective, if you're carrying around a lot of anger, resentment, or a need to prove yourself, you're going to attract people and situations that mirror that combative energy back to you. You might find yourself in arguments, power struggles, or situations where people are acting in self-serving or unethical ways. For some of you, this might mean attracting people who are willing to win by any means necessary, even if it means being dishonest or hurtful. Or you might be the one acting out this Five of Swords energy, so focused on being right or coming out on top that you're damaging your relationships and your own integrity in the process. The Five of Swords is asking you to consider whether the battles you're fighting are actually worth it. Are you winning, but at the cost of your peace, your relationships, or your values? The law of attraction brings you what matches your energy. So if you're in fighting mode, you're going to attract more fights. If you're in defensive mode, constantly expecting attack, you're going to attract more situations where you feel attacked. This card is a warning to examine your relationship with conflict and competition. there's a difference between healthy assertiveness and toxic competitiveness. There's a difference between standing up for yourself and being combative just for the sake of it. What you're attracting right now might be showing you where you need to lay down your sword, where you need to choose peace over being right, where you need to walk away from battles that aren't serving your highest good. The Five of Swords is also about learning from defeat. Sometimes you attract losses or setbacks because you need to develop humility or learn that your approach isn't working. The key is to be honest with yourself about your own role in the conflicts you're experiencing and to be willing to change your strategy if what you're doing isn't creating the outcomes you actually want. So Capricorn, when I look at all these cards together, what I'm seeing is a really complex picture of your law of attraction energy right now. You're in this deep introspective phase with the Hermit, going through major transformations with death, and moving toward completion with the World. At the same time, you're attracting opportunities to use your mental clarity with the Queen of Swords and build material success with the King of Pentacles. But there are also some warning signs here. The Ten of Swords, showing painful endings, the Five of Cups highlighting grief and loss, and the Five of Swords indicating conflict and competition. The message I'm getting for you is that you have incredible manifestation power right now, but you need to be very conscious about what frequency you're operating from. Are you manifesting from your wounds or from your wholeness? Are you attracting from fear or from trust? Are you focused on what you've lost or what you still have? The cards are showing you both the potential and the pitfalls. You have the ability to attract amazing transformations, material success, and new beginnings. But you also have the potential to attract more pain, conflict, and disappointment if you're not careful about your inner state. The law of attraction isn't just about positive thinking or vision boards. It's about your actual energetic frequency, which is determined by your beliefs, your emotions, your thoughts, and your actions. So my advice to you is to really pay attention to what you're experiencing in your life right now, because it's a direct reflection of what you're putting out there. If you don't like what you're attracting, you have the power to change it by changing your internal state. Use this Hermit time to get clear on who you are and what you really want. Allow the death transformations to clear out what no longer serves you. Step into your world energy of completion and wholeness. Use your Queen of Swords discernment to see clearly. Build your King of Pentacles stability. Learn from any Ten of Swords betrayals. Stay curious with the Page of Swords. Take full risks when they feel right. Release your Five of Cups grief. And choose your battles wisely with the Five of Swords. You have everything you need to manifest an amazing life, Capricorn. The question is, are you going to do the inner work required to become a clear channel for what you actually want? Or are you going to keep unconsciously attracting from your fears and wounds? The choice is yours, and the cards are here to help you see what's really going on so you can make that choice consciously. I hope this reading was helpful for you, and I'd love to hear in the comments if any of this resonated with your current experience. Take care of yourself, and happy manifesting.